Siberia is 13 million square kilometers. That's larger than Canada, larger than the entire United States, including Alaska. It's 1/10 of Earth's land surface, and it has just 33 million people, about the same as Tokyo's metro area. So why is one of the largest regions on Earth practically empty? The answer involves temperature, distance, and one of history's biggest geographical mistakes. First, let's define what we're talking about. Siberia stretches from the Ural Mountains in the west to the Pacific Ocean in the east, over 6,000 kilometers. From the Arctic Ocean in the north to Kazakhstan and Mongolia in the south, about 3,500 kilometers. The region contains vast forests, massive rivers, mountain ranges, and some of the harshest climate on Earth. It's also incredibly rich oil, natural gas, diamonds, gold, coal. Siberia holds a significant portion of the world's natural resources. Yet it's virtually empty. The population density is less than 3 people per square kilometer. Moscow alone has more people than the entire eastern half of Siberia. Why? Let's start with the obvious. Siberia is cold. But not just winter is unpleasant cold. We're talking about cold that fundamentally changes how you can live. Yakutsk, the capital of Russia's Sakha Republic, is the coldest major city on Earth. January temperatures average minus 40 degrees Celsius. That's the same in both units, the point where they meet. But averages don't tell the full story. Winter temperatures regularly drop to minus 50 or minus 60. At minus 60, exposed skin freezes in minutes. Car engines won't start even with winter fuel. Metal becomes brittle. Rubber cracks. And then there's permafrost. Approximately 65% of Russia sits on permafrost ground that remains frozen year-round. In Siberia, that permafrost can extend 1,500 meters deep. Try building on permafrost. When you construct a heated building, the warmth melts the ground beneath it. The foundation shifts. Buildings crack and collapse. Roads buckle. Infrastructure fails. Russian engineers developed solutions buildings on stilts, special foundations. But it's expensive and complicated. Every construction project in permafrost requires specialized engineering. Now let's talk about distance. Siberia is massive, but here's what makes it worse. It's far from everything. Moscow is 5,800 kilometers from Vladivostok on the Pacific coast. That's further than New York to London. The Trans-Siberian Railway takes 7 days to cross it. 7 days on a train. And that's if you're near the railway. Large portions of Siberia have no roads at all. No railways, no infrastructure. Villages are accessible only by plane, by river in summer, or by ice road in winter. This distance makes everything expensive. Shipping goods to eastern Siberia can cost more than shipping them internationally. A product made in Western Russia and shipped to Vladivostok might travel further and cost more than shipping it from China. When your region is so remote that it's cheaper to import from neighboring countries than from your own capital, economic development becomes nearly impossible. Here's where history comes in. Siberia wasn't always Russian. It was home to various indigenous peoples with small populations adapted to the environment. Russia began expanding into Siberia in the 16th century. Why? Fur trading. Specifically, sable fur, one of the most valuable commodities in Europe at the time. Russian Cossacks and traders pushed east, establishing outposts and extracting furs. By 1639, they reached the Pacific. In less than 60 years, Russia expanded across an entire continent. Show settlement patterns. But here's the key. They were extracting resources, not building settlements. Siberia was a colony to exploit, not a place to build cities. The pattern was set. Small outposts for resource extraction, but no major population centers. When the Soviet Union tried to change this in the 20th century, they ran into the same problems: cold, distance, and cost. The Soviets made massive efforts to populate Siberia. They built cities. They established industrial centers. They even offered financial incentives, higher wages, better benefits to anyone willing to move east. Some of it worked. Cities like Novosibirsk grew to over 1 million people. Mining towns appeared around resource deposits. The population increased. but it never became sustainable. People moved to Siberia for money, not opportunity. They worked for a few years, then moved back west. Families rarely stayed for generations. Communities never truly developed. After the Soviet Union collapsed, the incentives disappeared. Between 1989 and 2010, the Russian Far East lost 20% of its population. Young people left, cities declined. The population that remains is aging. Today, Russia still offers financial incentives to move east. They offer free land in certain regions, but few take it. The same fundamental problems remain: cold, isolation, and lack of economic opportunity. Ironically, climate change might make parts of Siberia more habitable. Rising temperatures are extending the growing season. Some regions might become suitable for agriculture. Melting permafrost could open access to resources, but melting permafrost is also a disaster. Buildings collapse, infrastructure fails, and the thawing releases massive amounts of methane, a potent greenhouse gas accelerating warming further. So, what does this mean for Russia and the world? Russia is resource-rich but population-poor in the east. Meanwhile, China, with 1.4 billion people, sits directly on Siberia's southern border. Chinese companies already operate in Siberia. Chinese migrants work in border regions. Russia knows this is a demographic and geopolitical problem. An empty Siberia is a vulnerable Siberia. But solving it requires making one of the harshest environments on Earth livable and economically attractive. That's not impossible, but it's enormously expensive and difficult. Compare Siberia to other cold regions: Alaska, northern Canada, Scandinavia. These places are also cold and remote, but they've developed because they're connected to wealthy, stable nations with strong infrastructure investment. Siberia has resources but lacks the economic and political stability to develop them sustainably. And it's competing with easier places to live. So here's what makes Siberia different from Australia's north or other empty regions. Siberia has been a priority for centuries. Russia has tried repeatedly to populate and develop it. They've invested billions. They've offered incentives. They've built cities, and it's still empty. That tells you something fundamental about geography. Some places resist human settlement no matter how much effort you apply. Siberia has resources, space, and potential. But it also has permafrost, isolation, and temperatures that make human life difficult on a fundamental level. Could climate change eventually make Siberia habitable? Maybe. But by then, the environmental cost might outweigh any benefit. For now, Siberia remains what it's always been: vast, rich, and empty. And geography suggests it will stay that way for a very long time.